Now, amongst all the deadline day excitement yesterday, you might have missed an extraordinary story from the Bundesliga. Former Manchester United boss Erik Ten Hag has been sacked by Bayer Leverkusen after just 2 league games in charge. Let's cross live to Marlon Erlbacher right now of Sky Germany to get a bit more on this. Marlon, thanks for talking to us. He lasted just 62 days. Why did the club sack him so quickly?
Yeah, it was so quickly. Yesterday, I was standing in front of the stadium and directly in front of the car of Erik Ten Hag, who was passing away from the stadium through his home, and I can tell you his face, it was like shit, yeah. So that means that was the moment he was sacked by the club, and there were a lot of things he did wrong with Bayer Leverkusen. It was his speeches in front of the matches, it was his speeches to some staff members of Bayer Leverkusen, some working members of Bayer Leverkusen. So it was a thing about his character. It was not that well with Bayer Leverkusen and all the people who are working around the club, but it was as well the main point that it was not very good in getting points with the team in the beginning of the Bundesliga season, because I talked to a lot of players and they told me it was not a good feeling from the start. It was a different feeling, especially to Xabi Alonso. When they compare, it was so different. It was a different time with him, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they sacked him.
Apologies if you heard any bad language there. Was a lot of this down, Marlon, to the difference between he and, as you say there, Xabi Alonso? Was it always going to be hard to follow in Xabi Alonso's footsteps?
Yes, of course, it's very hard because, as I told you, Xabi Alonso won a lot of things with Bayer Leverkusen. He won the German title, the German championship, the German national cup, of course, and it's very difficult to get in his footsteps because he was the best coach of Bayer Leverkusen ever, to be honest. And yeah, it was very hard for him, but it was also very hard because Bayer Leverkusen bought a lot of new players. Bayer Leverkusen sold a lot of their best players. And for a new coach, it's always different to build a new team. So that means for him it was a special work with Bayer Leverkusen, and Bayer Leverkusen didn't trust Erik Ten Hag that he would mention it, so would make it work. So that means for him it was a special and a very difficult time.
But Leverkusen sold a number of their top players in the summer. Was Ten Hag given the support that he needed?
Yes, of course. He got all the support of the club members, of the fans, of the people who are working around the team, and of course of the bosses. He got everything he needs, so he could buy some new players. He got a lot of pressure, of course, but anyway, he's a manager with a lot of experience through his time with Ajax Amsterdam, Manchester United, and that means, of course, they were always standing behind him and gave him everything he needed.
Have you got any idea who the club might be lining up to replace Ten Hag?
A lot of ideas, to be honest. In my opinion, they need a manager who knows the Bundesliga, because right now there's a point you need a coach who can build a new team, who can bring all those new guys, all those new players together, you know, and that's the main point, I guess. And that's why they need a manager, a coach who knows the Bundesliga, maybe someone who got some experience in the Bundesliga with some other clubs, and of course someone who needs to win games. So in my opinion, of course, there are some names like Xavi, former coach of FC Barcelona, but we all know for him it would be a new work, you know, to work in the Bundesliga, to know, to get to know the team, of course, and the Bundesliga. Maybe I think they need someone who knows the Bundesliga very well, and I'm thinking about Marco Rose, who was coach of Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig, or some other guys who knows the Bundesliga very well.
And I just want to get your thoughts before you go on a player that's left by Leverkusen on deadline day, coming to Arsenal, Piero Hincapié. A lot of Arsenal fans don't know too much about him. What can they expect? Is he a player to excite the fans?
Yeah, to be honest, I love to see him play for Bayer Leverkusen during the last years because he's a fighter, he's a hard-working player. He can play in the defense on the left side, in the center, of course, also in the midfield, defense midfield. So, in my opinion, he's a great player. He's good with the ball, he's good with the head in the air. So, great defender, great guy, great person, great player for Arsenal.
Oh, good to hear. Thanks very much, Marlon.
Former Manchester United boss Erik Ten Hag has been sacked by Bayer Leverkusen after just 2 league games in charge. The Dutch manager was dismissed on Monday morning following Leverkusen's 3-3 draw with Werder Bremen. Sky Germany reporter Marlon Urbacher, however, says that the seeds of Ten Hag's departure were in fact sown in pre-season.
There were a lot of things he did wrong with Bayer Leverkusen. It was his speeches in front of the matches. It was his speeches to some staff members of Bayer Leverkusen, some working members of Bayer Leverkusen. So it was a thing about his character. It was not that well with Bayer Leverkusen and all the people who are working around the club. But it was as well the main point that it was not very good in getting points with the team in the beginning of the Bundesliga season. Because I talked to a lot of players and they told me it was not a good feeling from the start. It was a different feeling, especially to Xabi Alonso. When they compare, it was so different. It was a different time with him, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they sacked him.